All right, take two. Hi, Flosstube. Today is Thursday, December 12th, 2024. I am Audrey Marine. You can find me on Instagram at StitchStitchBead. And if you are new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping by and giving me a chance. Hopefully you'll find something in this video that you enjoy. For my returning viewers, thank you so much for coming back. Thank you as well for your patience. It has been about 2 months since my previous video. I did want to record a video last month in November. I had plenty to show, but you know, things just happen or they don't, and they just didn't last month. But I have a lot to show you today, so I will make up for it. Let's get into things. I don't know that I have a regular order in which I show you things. Today we're starting with purchases, and it will lead into other goodies. So let's start with that. In the last couple months, I have bought a lot of fabric, or it feels like I bought a lot of fabric. Maybe it's not a lot, it feels like a lot. Okay, I'll just show you. I placed an order from swanbayfabrics.com. It's a new overdyed linen and Ada company based in the UK. Marie and Gunther are behind it. I think you guys know Marie from Stitches and Diamonds, and I believe, if I have this correct, she's also the brains behind Stitch in London. I could have that wrong, don't quote me on it. But Somi Sarah talked about Swan Bay Fabrics and showed some pieces that she was gifted from Marie. And Jackie Comfort Stitching also showed some beautiful fabrics that she got from Marie. And so as soon as the website was live and things were available for purchase, I went ahead and placed an order that was back in mid-October. And I purchased 5 pieces. And one of the pieces I already had earmarked for something. So let me just show you what I got. I love the names. The first piece I got, and I got all 46. She doesn't have 56 available as of right now, and they may not have 56 in the future, but they do have a lot of counts of linen and Ada as well. So check them out, swanbayfabrics.com. And this is 46 count Barton clay. It's a nice terracotta color. And next I have Pemberley, kind of a golden tan color. Next I have 46 count dark Sanditon. And then I want to show you, compare it to the light Sanditon. I got a larger cut of that. I figured it would be an easy piece to put into use. But here is dark. This is light Sanditon for your comparison. Very light modeling, not too dramatic. I think good for many pieces. And then the last piece I got was a piece of 46 count. It's a fat quarter of Eleanor's Ivory. Just a great basic ivory color. Very pretty. And everything came nicely packaged. Very happy with my purchase. So check them out. You know, there's of course a shipping cost to the US, but it wasn't prohibitive. It wasn't absurd. So I would very happily order from them again. Now, more fabric. This is from, sorry for the crinkle. I should have taken it out of the tissue paper, I suppose. I'll cut that out. How about that? Okay, tissue paper is gone. So this is an order from Cedar River Linen. Jody, based out west. cedarriverlinen.com. This is 46 count Piret. So this is another great beige, tan, neutral. You see it's kind of got some gold modeling in it. Very pretty. So if you watched my previous video, I told you about getting to see these colors in person and ordering right then and there. And these arrived pretty promptly. This is 46 count Scrimshaw. This is that very, very light pink that I mentioned. It is hard to see here on the video, but it's a beautifully light pink. And in fact, the light coming through the window, when I see it backlit, I can see the pink hue very nicely. I wish you guys could see it. And then I got a piece of 56 scrimshaw as well. And you can see the color is very consistent from 56 to 46. And then Jody sent along as well a piece of 46 count salt ash. It is gorgeous. So I ordered another piece from Hobby House because I have this earmarked for something now. And so I was like, well, I need a replacement. So this is a nice, beautiful gray color. I think you guys could find a lot of stuff to stitch on that. Okay. And then I got a text from my friend Vashti, who works at the attic. This was a few weeks ago, a couple weeks ago, I don't know. If you guys watched the last video, I think it was the last video that the ladies from the attic put out, they were talking about how they got an order of Mason linen in, and it was just sort of, well, this is what we've got, and give us a call and let us know what you're looking for. So I had seen the video and I was like, well, I don't need any more fabric. But then Vashti called me and she was like, well, we got Mason linen, what do you want? So I asked her, I was like, well, I have something and I'm looking for the slightly lighter color in that. She was like, no, we don't have it, or they only had like a 36 or something. I don't know. It wasn't the combination of color and count that I wanted. And she said, but we've got 46 in antique button dark. And I went onto the Mason Linen's website and they have really good photographs of their linen collection, so you can compare colors very easily. And I said, oh yeah, send me that. So went ahead and charged my card and popped it in the mail and everything, and it arrived, and it is exactly what I was hoping for. There is tissue paper in this. This is what Mason Linen does. They iron and fold and put tissue paper in all of it. But this color, okay. The reason why I wanted this caramel color in Mason Linen is because I had got it stuck in my head that I needed to stitch Ann Thomas on a piece of caramel linen. Do you see it? Yeah. And so I wanted a 46 in this color. It's so pretty. I think that right there is a good representation of it. Yeah. Ann Thomas is one that I would like to start yesterday. Very soon. Very soon. Yeah, this is on my 2025 list. When I was making notes for this Flosstube episode, I had a section where I was like, oh, let me talk about all my 2025 plans. I'm not going to talk about my 2025 plans on this video. I'll do another video in a few weeks and I will tell you my plans then. And then over the course of the next 12 months, you can see how those get shot to hell. We'll see what actually happens in 2025. So that's it. That's all the fabric I bought. But then actually Vashti went to a different shop and she was like, oh, guess what I found? I was like, just buy it and I'll repay you. I'll send you a check. So who knows what else is coming. Okay. But I was very excited about those fabrics because I have plenty of fabric still in my stash, but I have burned through quite a few pieces. And then I've got some pieces that I've cut into, so what's left is now only good for smaller pieces. So it's like, well, I need larger pieces for samplers and yeah, all that stuff. Okay, other purchases. Look at the linen. Maybe this should be my screenshot. Look at that. Oh. Okay, enough goofing around, Audrey. Let me show you guys. I mentioned this probably about a year ago. I don't purchase Book of Days or Cross Stitch Planner or whatever. I get planners from Golden Coil. I've done this for the last few years and I ordered my new one. For this one, this is the one I've been using this year. And in the back, I'll show you on a month-to-month basis. So like this is May, and on the left here, I have all the whips that I touched in May, not necessarily all the whips that I had going, but all the whips that I touched in May. So as I picked something up in May, I wrote it there. And so here in December, you'll see that even though I've got a dozen whips going, on the left here, there are only 3 things written. And that's so that I can easily at a glance see what I worked on in that month. And then I will write, you know, well, I worked on Nettle, and today I worked on Eliza. I'll get to that. Anyway, if you like nice paper and, you know, not spiral bound, it's like ring bound and hard covers. And then I also have, you know, you can import your contacts into it, and there's all sorts of different, it's completely customizable is my point. I don't know why I'm going on about this, other than that I wanted to say that this one is about to be retired, and I got my new one in a delightfully boring color, and I love it. This is walnut, and this one is a little bit slimmer than the one from this year because I've kind of figured out what pages I'm using and what pages I'm not using. So things that I didn't use this year, I didn't bother putting in for the 2025 planner. So golden coil, if you're interested, if you like the look of that. The paper is very nice, would recommend. Some other things that I ordered a few charts that I didn't need, but a couple weeks ago I was, you know, on YouTube, as you are, and I saw that Olivia B of Hillside Rookery had a new video up, a new unboxing video where she showed some charts that she got in for the shop, and I was so excited because she had found from one of her distributors that they had some new old stock of some birds of a feather charts. So immediately I paused the video, popped over to her Etsy shop, and thank goodness she still had a few copies of each one of these charts. These are the birds of a feather stockings. So many of you, I'm sure, are familiar with these, but I don't know how I found out about these, but I was very excited. I just thought they were so cute. And so I found a group of all 4 of them on eBay, but it was probably double retail, which still wasn't awful. It was like $20 a chart or something, $22 a chart, I think it was, came out to be. And I was like, oh, well, that's not awful. But I hadn't ordered them, thank goodness. And so when I saw that Olivia, I love this one. When I saw that Olivia had all 4 of these, I thought, heck yes. So these took a while to get to me, and that's not Olivia's fault because she posted them pretty quickly, but you know, mail in December. So I ordered these. These are not, when I finish them, whenever I finish them, these are not to be used as stockings. They will just be decorations. I will have them finished as usable stockings, like open top and everything with lining and backing and all that jazz. But we have stockings for our family. And actually at my mom's place where we are spending this Christmas, she and Rupert actually together sewed 5 quilted stockings. So we've all got sort of hand-picked fabrics, but matching in a group stockings. So these ones, I think they're so cute, and I wanted to stitch them, and I was very happy to find them at retail and new. And I have the perfect fabric for them because a while ago, actually when I was at the attic in January, I got this beautiful piece of 40 count Mason linen sewing box dark. And it's like a burnt caramel color, like a gingerbread color actually. And look at that. Because these are on, it calls for 28 count sparrow birds of a feather, whatever that fabric is. I don't know. But to me, it looks like a gingerbread color. And I think the whites, greens, reds, all that will pop very nicely on this fabric. So actually, when I was trying to kit up a couple weeks ago that Stacy Nash Jingle Ball kit, the one that's like a gingerbread house, it occurred to me that I had this fabric and I was like, oh, that would be perfect. It's 40 count and it's gingerbread color. But then I realized that it would be super perfect for these charts, and I have just enough of that fabric to fit these because it's 40 count, as I say, and it is, what is it, half a yard? Yeah, it's half a yard. And so this, what you're seeing here, is 1/4 of the piece that I have. And when you open this up, and I'll just open this up because you're not gonna be able to stitch from this. The dimensions of this chart are such that this is a perfect representation of what the finished product will look like on a 40 count. And you can see that it perfectly fits on that quarter of this piece of fabric that I have, which means if I want to stitch all 4 of them and I want to stitch them all on the same piece of fabric, I need a full half yard. Yeah. So I did not stitch the Stacy Nash piece. I didn't even pick a different fabric for it. I was like, screw it, I'm not stitching anything for that. And over the weekend, the Jingle Ball was going on and I logged on a few times and I like looked around and I looked in the shop and I didn't buy anything from the shops. I didn't go into a stitchy room. I didn't watch anything in the main ballroom. So I've learned that the Jingle Ball is not for me. I don't need to do it next year. I know a lot of people have fun, but I didn't want to just jump into like a Zoom meeting with a bunch of people that I don't, if I had known that a couple of my friends were in a particular, I don't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. I know a lot of people love it and they've had fun and they want to do it every year and that's great, but I'm thinking I didn't need to spend the $40 to get the, what was it? It was $10 for the Jingle Ball ticket and then like 30 something for the Stacy Nash chart and access to her video. And I was like, I should have just waited until next year when that darn chart is going to come out and I can get it for $12 or whatever it's going to be. So, you know, lesson learned. Okay. I also received some stitchy kindness since my last video, and I just wanted to say thank you. You know who you are, to the couple people that gifted me things. I sent a couple charts to a friend and I just knew that she liked them and I had no need of them. So I went ahead and sent them, and then she got me a gift card to 123 Stitch. I did put that to good use. I have all the floss I need for a new chart. So I will share that with you guys when the chart arrives because I was so excited. I ordered it like before it was really a kind of pre-order thing. So it'll come when it comes, and I'll share that with you guys on a future video. Anyway, but maybe some of you already ordered the chart, I don't know. And another thing that I got was a friend gifted me. I got the pattern, but a friend gifted me all the Tudor silks for Sarah Stewart Hardiman. This is from Needlework Press. And I love this chart. Look at that house. I picked this up again today, you know, gathering things for this video, and I saw it again. I was like, oh, I need to start it. These last few weeks, I just wanted to start all the things, honestly. But I'm not any closer to finishing things. So I need to get, you know, something off my whip list. Or, you know, just like start like 12 new things and just say the hell with it. But anyway, the Tudor silks come in a bag like this. And so that I can more easily open them, I decided, well, I need to put them in floss away bags because then you open them sideways like this. And so I got one in a floss away bag. And then I was like, okay, I'm bored with that. So I need to go through and do the rest. There aren't so many that it would take me forever, but you know, I had to peel the label off this, stick it on a floss away bag, stick the Tudor silk in there. I have put Gloriana silks, which is the same company, but it's like the full size, kind of like Soie d'Alger thickness. I've put those on floss drops, but I don't know that I want to put Tudor silk on floss drops. I think it's just a little too delicate. I remember Jody at the last retreat in October, the Great British Sampler weekend. She was working with Tudor Silk on something that weekend, and she was like, it's like that. I mean, and it really feels like it, and it looks like it. But the colors of this chart, so pretty, right? Look at that. Oh, we're getting into the reds. So if you are interested in Sarah Stewart Hardiman, I know the photo on the chart is the antique. So it's hard to tell what the finished product is really going to look like. But if you're interested in these these floss colors, definitely want to check out. So thank you very much. That's one I'll be starting in the new year. Absolutely. And it's housed in this bag. It also feels like there's something else in here. Oh no, floss away bags. I put them in there because I need to do that. But yes, housed in that bag. Okay, I went up to visit my mother recently, and I was there for a while, and I brought 3 projects with me, and none of them were samplers. When I told Rupert this, he was like, it's like, yeah, it was a rough time. I thought if I brought a sampler with me that I would only stitch on the sampler. And I was like, I want to do some Christmas stitching, but I need to force myself to do some Christmas stitching. So I brought a Stacy Nash animal cracker, which I did a little bit of work on. And then I put some stitches into a couple Christmas things. So let me show you what I worked on while I was up there. Okay. I pulled this out and brought this with me. This is the Sweetheart Tree, 12 Days of Christmas. This is 1 through 6. There's another booklet that is 7 through 12. And then you can also buy individual small ones. I have like a weird combination of smalls and bigs. And I did show these on a video quite a while ago because it was about a year ago that I did the first 2 in this collection. But I only just this past week pulled it out to work on it again. So, and I am pulling my own colors. It's all charted in DMC, but I decided to use overdyed from my collection. There were a couple that I purchased specifically for this, but for the most part, I just pulled things that I had. This is Ribbon Red. It is one of my favorite reds. Is it? Yeah, Classic Colorworks. I just wanted to make sure I got that right. But beautiful combination of colors, and I'll show you what I've got done. It says 1 partridge in a pear tree. And we've got turtle doves. And in the chart, the doves are white. But I looked online, looked up turtle doves, and found pictures of really beautiful, brilliant blue-brown birds. And so I used that as inspiration for mine. And then this past week, you can see this is what their French hens look like. And I, again, just did some Googling, you know, French chicken species or whatever I looked up, and I found some really beautiful options. And I don't remember the names of the different ones that I chose. I'll have to look that up if you guys are interested. But found one, like a super fluffy one that was like beige caramel colored, and found some black ones. And this color here that I used is Cinders. So it really is just one color, but you see that it goes from black to burgundy in there. And then this I used an off-white. I think I used cattail or something for this one. And then I made the eggs different colors. Very pretty. And I did start on number 4, the collie birds. And again, their birds are blue and pink, but collie birds actually means blackbirds. So I used Cinders again to make the bird mostly black, but to give it a bit of depth with that red color that's in there. So if I spent another day or 2 on this, I could get this one done. It would be nice maybe next Christmas, maybe the Christmas after, to have all 12 of these done. Oh, okay. So on the subject of 12 Days of Christmas, Stephanie from Across the Globe, she was talking about how she wants to start that Annie B's 12 Days of Christmas, and she was talking about how it's going to be one start and one whip, but 12 finishes. And I was like, that's right, because that's how I see it. I don't want to consider this, no, it's one whip, because you're not working on all 12 of them at one time. I mean, I finished this one before I started this one. I finished this one before I started this one. And so it really does feel like a finish, but you're still on the same project. So totally, Stephanie, yeah. You can see here in the photos as well that it's more like a, you know, pointed flag, a pennant sort of shape. You have the option in the small books, in the small singular books, they have charting for this shape, and then on the back they have charting for a rectangular shape. And I opted, when I started these, to go for the simple rectangular shape, because I thought if I had these finished by someone else, it would be easier and therefore less expensive. But since I've made my own needle book using Katie Strachan's method, go watch her tutorial for the Stacy Nash feathered pin keep. That's the instruction that I use to finish a needle book in that way. And I thought you can finish ornaments in that exact same way. And so as cool as it would be to have them this shape, they are what they are now. And it will be plenty easy for me to cut out rectangular pieces of mat board and rectangular pieces of cotton batting or whatever it is that I pick to give it that little bit of fluff in there when I get around to finishing these. But they are adorable. I know a lot of people, I've had a couple people message me like, oh, they're so pretty, but I hate backstitch. And I don't like backstitch when it dates a piece, and I just don't like the aesthetic of it. But doing it isn't any harder than making X's. So I don't know why people hate it so much. And also when you're backstitching like vines and things, you don't have to be super careful. It's a vine. When you're outlining letters or numbers or something very precise, then yeah, you got to get it right. You want to make sure that all your stitches are straight and all that jazz, but otherwise it doesn't matter. This is stitched on 40 count Cafe au lait. I think that's a Zweigart thing. I don't know. This is a piece of fabric that my mom bought me, so I don't know exactly what it is, but I know it's Cafe au lait. I know it's 40 count. And this chart, as far as I know, is still available. My mom ordered this, or she ordered the small ones for me from House of Stitches in LaPorte, Indiana. I think you can get this on 123 Stitch, but call your LNS. They might have it or be able to get it. Okay, another Christmas chart that I brought with me. Where did I put the chart? Oh, it's right here. Okay. I brought this with me. This is Santa's Delivery by Teresa Kogut. And the night that I was having a meltdown about that, you know, Stacy Nash gingerbread thing, and I was like, I can't use this fabric because I need it for the stockings. And so I thought, well, I'm not going to stitch that Stacy Nash thing, but I want to find some other Christmas chart to bring with me. So I showed this to Ryan. I was like, just pick a Santa. And he picked this guy. Super cute. And so before I went up to my mom's, I made sure I had all the floss that I needed, but I also colored my perforated paper. So these are meant to be stitched on black perforated paper and then mounted to laser cut wood pieces that come in a kit from Chantal 141. And you're supposed to paint the wood black so that when you mount your stitched piece, which is on black perforated paper, then it all sort of blends into the background and Santa and the deer pop, is the idea. Well, I didn't have black perforated paper, but I did have 14 count brown perforated paper, and I was able to color it myself. Now I think, So on the note on the back here, it says, at the time of this design's release, black perforated paper was hard to find. For tips on how to color white 14 count perforated paper, go to my Flosstube channel and watch episode 182. That's from Teresa. Now, I would not recommend necessarily trying to color white perforated paper because the colored perforated paper from Mill Hill is slick. And so you're really gonna need like a paint to go over it, I would think. But the brown, the natural perforated paper, is porous and absorbent. And so I was able to just use calligraphy ink, which I have on hand, and I put some latex gloves on, and I put this paper down on a, paper grocery bag on the table, and I wadded up a paper towel and dipped it into my ink, and then just kind of like rubbed in a circular motion all over this. And I didn't need it to be perfect. I kind of wanted a rustic look. So this is how it came out. And you can see it's pretty black. And then I'll show you my finished product. Okay, he has a base, but the base is in a tray that I have over here. And I will show you the tray so you can see the finished product. Now make sure that you stitch, if you are stitching these on paper, so that you can use this wood set, that you are stitching on 14 count. Mill Hill also makes 18 count perforated paper, but it comes in fewer colors than the 14 count, so it is easier to avoid. But oh, so cute. And I used Whisper for Santa's beard and the reindeer's tail. And I used whatever colors I had and liked. So I went through my overdyed cotton stash and I pulled some colors I liked and went to town. But this stuff, awful to use and just difficult to thread onto my needle. And so I'll end up with rabbit hair in my mouth. It was not great, but boy, did it turn out well. Now I will say that I had never used Whisper before, so I didn't really know, the recommended way of using it. So when I got to Santa's beard, I used one single ply of overdyed cotton and combined it with one ply of the Whisper and stitched it like that. It wasn't as well covered as I would have hoped. So I went back with another ply of the Whisper and just kind of sporadically added to his beard there. Whereas the tail here, I had stitched fully with 3 ply of overdyed cotton. And then I just decided on a whim, oh, I want his tail to be fuzzy too, and stitched over it with the Whisper, and wow, is it fluffy. So if I had just stitched maybe with just 2 ply of overdyed cotton and then went over it with 1 or 2 strands of Whisper, maybe that would have achieved a look that I liked. But anyway, he's done. It was an experience. Super easy to finish. Okay, I know people hate perforated paper. Yeah, I know people hate perforated paper, but it's so easy to finish. And I'll show you. I did not glue the dowel into this part, and I didn't glue it into the stand because after Christmas is over, I want to be able to store all this flat. But real quick, I got them all stitched up. I used my same acid-free glue that I used to finish my other Mill Hill ornaments, which are also on perforated paper. And I put the glue on the back just behind the stitching though, and then stuck this on this wood piece, which I had already stained. I did not paint this, I stained it because I wanted a lighter black finish. And then I had not yet attached this part to it because I wanted to be able to put this on a table and put a Dutch oven on top of it, which I did. So this was under a Dutch oven for about 2 hours. And boy, was it flat when I picked that Dutch oven back up. And then, yeah, and then just, stick the dowel in the back and stick them in your stand and it's all ready to go. To secure the wood pieces to each other, I used a Gorilla Glue, wood glue. It seemed to work just fine. But let me pick up the tray that I have here and I can show you my Christmas display. I put a picture of this on Instagram and I love it so much. And somebody had the audacity to say, like, shouldn't there be a mat in the bottom of that? No. Because I got this tray at Sampler Symposium, and it was from Mary Cox, and we were supposed to stitch a sampler, like a lettering thing, and stick it in the bottom. Well, that's not happening. It's like, no. It's a beautiful tray. It works so nicely. The rattling you hear are those jingle bells. I found, you know, just in some plastic tube, a bunch of decorative jingle bells at Marshall or TJ Maxx or whatever. It was like $6 for a dozen or so. And I thought, oh, that would be so great to add to my little pillow finishes. Because I didn't want something that would, like, people use rusty bells and things like that, and I like the look, but I don't want actual rust around my things. So let me just pick up what I showed you, and I'll show you the individual pieces. You've already seen these, but I'm so proud of them that I'll show them again. This is Dash Away All by Calico Confectionery, and all of these pillow finishes were finished by Faye Rigsby, and you can find her on Instagram. Reach out to her, and I think if you don't have Instagram, just Google Faye Rigsby and you should be able to find her contact info. And this pin is from Minnie McBean's, and Minnie McBean's has an Etsy shop, but it's not always open. She kind of like makes a bunch of stuff, opens her shop, and then once it's gone, and she closes her shop again until she's got more stock. But you can email her. Sorry, I don't know why my voice cracked like that. But you can email her if there's something specific that you're looking for. One lady on Instagram, I hope she got my reply. She asked about this one. This is part of a set, Pennsylvania Christmas 2 by Shakespeare's Peddler. There is another small that goes with this, just a single. And that's, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, Pennsylvania Christmas. These were stitched on a fabric from Number 12 Stitch Co. Forgive me, I don't remember the name. I think it's like rose red, something like that. The called for is Aztec Red by Weeks, but I don't particularly care for that color. It's more like a, you know, rusty brick sort of color, and just wasn't doing it for me. So I used Nicola's from Number 12 Stitch Co. It's a brilliant red and I love it. Oh, and those were on 40 count. This may have been on 46. I don't remember the fabric, I'm sorry. If you're curious about these, there's information about each individual one in a previous video when I had just gotten these back. This is another Shakespeare's Peddler, Charged, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. I stitched this on 46 count Panettone from Roxy Floss Co. I love this fabric. It's a beautiful color, and I pulled 103s as well as a thread nuts, or a painter's thread that I purchased from threadnuts.com, and that's why even though this is 100.3 silk, it is variegated because it is a painted thread. So I picked my own colors for this, and made a couple little tweaks to some little individual items, and I just love this one so much. I love it. And then this is Plum Street Samplers. This is Mary 2 or Mary 3, M-E-R-R-Y. I don't remember. There's a Mary 1 and a Mary 2 and a Mary 3. And this, I think, is Mary 2. I think I have Mary 3. I think Mary 1 is the one I'm not crazy about. I really don't remember. But again, I pulled my own colors for this. Oh, and I love that fat snowman. Look at him. He's so ridiculous. And I put a little French knot nose on that deer right there. So, very happy with this display. I think I did a good job. And I like that I've got a Santa flying over it all. Ryan was like, why is Santa riding the reindeers? Don't ask questions. don't think too hard about it. It's like when we watch cartoons and Morris is like, well, why is that happening? Well, why are they doing that? Well, why didn't they just do that? And I was like, Morris, it's movie magic. You have to just suspend disbelief, right? But very happy with my display. And I would recommend this construction here. I know perforated paper is not everybody's jam, but boy, is it easy to finish, honestly, because there's no sewing involved. So, Whisper, colors from that. Oh, and I just wanted to say that for Santa's delivery, Santa riding the reindeer, Teresa recommends 2 strands of floss. I use 3 strands of floss, and that's what I would recommend. You do your own thing. But I wanted the color to be really bold. I didn't want to see a bunch of black paper coming through. So I used 3 strands of floss, and I started with full skeins, and this is how much red I have left. And this is how much I have of the deer color, like the main body of the deer. So it takes a lot. If you only use 2 strands, then you would have plenty left over. But if you're a thread hog and you're using 3 strands, just know that you might need to dip into a second skein. Okay. Yeah. All right, where do I want to go? Oh, another whip. What's going on? Okay, this one, I know I haven't worked on in a while, but I have worked on it since I spoke to you guys last. This is M. Satterthwaite 1807, a Quaker sampler from Shakespeare's Peddler. Black sampler, except for these flowers here. Those are done in ivory. And I am stitching this on 46 count brown paper. 46 or 56? Now I'm confused. Maybe it's 46. This looks like 46. So got the swan done since I showed you guys last, and worked down here, also worked over here. Still have a ways to go, but I really like this. I'm envisioning in the future one of the walls in my hallway to have sort of darker pieces. This piece, and I don't know, maybe a Hawk Run Hollow, maybe that new Salem sampler from Plum Street that's coming out, you know, stuff like that. But really like that one. Okay, and then this is another one I brought to my mom's, and I, as I say, hardly touched it. This is Nettle from Stacy Nash. This is one of her animal crackers that came out earlier this year. There are a couple mistakes in this chart, so, you know, stitch directly from the chart or consult the photo or just stitch it however the heck you want. It doesn't matter, but there is a mistake in the eyes. And then as I continued to consult the photo, I started stitching her dress in mascara. And then I realized that, oh, the dress is actually supposed to be stitched in a dark gray, not a black. And then I was too far into it. I was like, you know what? I don't care. And I think actually getting down to the stockings, which are striped, instead of orange and black stripes, I think I might mix it up with like a purple or a lime green or something. Just make it a little quirky. This is stitched on 40 count Little Bunny, I believe it is, from XJew. Mostly the called for, but I'm stitching Nettle's body, her fur, in not light khaki like it's supposed to be. I'm stitching it in Weeks Parchment, because for me the light khaki was too yellow. But very cute. So last time you saw her, I had only just done the head and the collar and hadn't even finished her face actually. So now I finished her face and gotten into her body a bit. So if I spend a few days on this, I could finish it. We're not that far away. But I like that, and I'd like to have her in my Halloween display next year. You know, I have this vision. We've got this long hallway. It leads down to our front door, which we never use, and I'd actually like to use my front door sometime. But there's this little nook there, and I thought, oh, that would be really beautiful to put a console table in with a lamp and some photos and some little kitschy things and some smalls, and then on the wall have M. Satterthwaite and, you know, some other pieces up there that coordinate, and wouldn't that be cool? Yeah. We're getting there. Okay, now this one I have made a lot of progress on. Plum Street samplers, A Shepherd's Song. I will insert a photo here of what it looked like when you guys last saw it. This was another one I took on a trip within the last couple months, and it was the only thing I brought with me so that I was forced to work on it, and I got a lot done. I put in over 3,000 stitches in one long weekend. So this is where I am. This is on 40 count French Pear from number 12 Stitch Co. You can see that I finished the grass and I finished the sheep within the grass. There is one more sheep that's going to be up on top of the grass next to the house, but I put in a lot more stitches into the house. I started the roof and I did just a bit of the border over here. So lots of progress. I think I can safely say, because all the grass is done, I can say I am at least halfway done, because there really isn't much up here, right? There are a few trees. I'm going to eliminate this big flower that I don't care for and just put in another tree. And I'm going to change the quote, but it'll work out to be about the same number of stitches. And so, yeah, I've got house to finish, there's sheep to put in, and some trees. And this border, when I first did this section of border, it flew. It went very quickly. Greens and pinks and blacks. I think it looks very nice. And again, that fabric is from number 12, and I'm using the called for flosses. These are overdyed cottons. That just fell. You use a lot of nature trail, I will say. That's what the grass is. So I get a little tired of that color, but I do like the colors here. All right. And I think I have just one more whip to show you, and then, no, 2 more whips to show you and a couple new starts. And that's it. Okay, Lone Eagle sampler. Monochromatic, pick your favorite red or favorite color. This is from Needlework Press. This was a market release back in March of this year, and I just fell in love with it. I thought all those designs were really cool. And I am stitching this on 56 count Latte by XJU Design with 664 is the red from Auvera Soie. It is the spooled silk. And since I saw you guys last, I finished this motif, started on this stuff over here and moved down. So this is actually as tall as it's going to be. So at this point, I'm just moving sideways. So when this is done, I will have a nice chunk of fabric to do one more long skinny thing or a couple smalls. But really like this piece. I want to hang this in my kitchen dining room area when it's done. I have one red sampler in there right now. Oh, that reminds me. I got a comment on my last video, and something to the effect of, why don't you display stitching on the wall behind you? Don't be shy about sharing your stitching. So I read the comment and I was like, I'm making videos. I'm not shy about sharing my stitching. But it made me realize that I have new subscribers and I have people who are only just now joining me. So I need to reintroduce myself. Hi, I'm Audrey, and I've only been stitching on linen for 2 years now. Actually, like 25 months, because the first thing I started on linen was back in November of 22. So while I stitch a lot, and I have finished a lot of things this year in particular, you know, 9 samplers are at the framers right now. So I just don't have a ton of stuff to put on the wall behind me. I don't have anything on this wall. I have 3 things on this wall. And if you go and watch my like 14-minute video, a tour of the Floss Palace, which is this room, you'll see those 3 things on that wall right there. But I've given 1 big sampler to my mom, and I have 2 things in the dining room and 1 thing out in the hallway. So that's where all my stitching is. So even though it would be nice if I had a backdrop like Brenda Swecky or Kim Goldman or whomever else, Nerissa, with just like so many things up on the wall, I'm not quite there yet. But I will get there, and I appreciate that so many of you want to see my stitching. I will get there. I will get there. Okay, 1 final whip to show you guys. This is another Shakespeare's Peddler. This is Mary A. Williams, 1818. It's that pink house. I love it so much. Last time I showed it to you, I had a bit of border. I had just a couple words in this cartouche here. I am changing the verse, but I had a couple words put in there, and I had started this tree. I had the tree about halfway done or so. And so I'll show you what I have now. This is being stitched on 46 count. Tag is in here. I did this last time too. Lamb's wool. 46 count lamb's wool from XG Design. And I am using 103 conversion that I got from hoopandframe.com. So now I have more of the tree done, and I got the deer and the dog stitched. So not a ton of progress on this one, but you'll see why, because I worked on a couple other things. Yeah. This will be a pretty big sampler when it's done. But I just love the sampler. And I love how this tree is turning out. I just need to sit one day and fill that in. But I have a Zoom call with a friend next week, and I think maybe that's what I'll work on when I'm talking to her. There is 1 variegated floss in this, a Gloriana Golden Squash, and it looks beautiful on the chart. But everything else is, for me, 100.3 silks. But the chart calls for, I have this in a weird order. Yeah, it calls for Avera Soie Soie d'Alger or DMC, plus the 1 Golden Squash from Gloriana. Okay, so let me show you now. Let me check my notes, make sure I'm still on track. Yes, new starts. I purchased the holiday box, the holiday mystery box from Hobby House Needleworks. And I'm not going to show that to you guys because if you've watched Stitch and Gem or Jordan the Tattooed Stitcher, she did not seem enthused. That's why I'm laughing. But if you've watched either of their recent videos, or maybe even some other people have shown what they've got in that box, you'll be able to see. I'm happy with its contents. I've already started the chart, and in January I will show that to you because I suspect there are at least a few people who are hanging onto the box and have not opened it yet. So I don't want to spoil the surprise for them. I'm happy with its contents. I think one of my favorite items is the Hobby House branded item, which I was not expecting, but I love it. And it's already in use, we'll say. Okay, let me put Mary A. Williams down here. You guys should see the pile of crap that is on the floor. Okay, so anyway, as I was saying, the chart that was included in that box, that is one of my new starts, but I will not show it to you just yet. It is a Hands Across the Sea samplers chart, and I really like it. I opened the box. Okay, my birthday start did turn out to be Oh Sweet Humility, Eliza Townsend's work, 1835, from Cross Stitch Antiques. This is a one that has been around for at least a year or two. I know several people have started this. Katie Strachan is working on it, but she's putting her own twist on it, choosing her own colors. I am stitching as charted using the 100.3 silks from Auvera Soie. And I am stitching this on 46 count through the looking glass by Tabby Cat Linen. I purchased this piece of linen at Hobby House in October. And I just loved how it looked with the colors. So I went ahead and started it. And forgive the wrinkles, I decided I wasn't gonna iron today. I didn't feel like it. But the first thing I did was work on the border. So I started in the top left corner, as I always do, and worked down and then worked sideways a bit. And then once I had a good amount of border done, I came down and started in the grass. Now I will say the grass is very dark. The 103 color that is called for the grass is 531. And I don't have that here, but it is dark. But the DMC is 3011. And when I looked that up online, because I didn't have it in my DMC stash, so I couldn't really compare in person, but the DMC is 3011. That I think is significantly lighter than the 103 that is called. So as I started to stitch the grass, I was thinking, man, this is dark, man, this is dark. But I just kept going. And it was when I got to this man who has, you know, like a jacket or a pouch and a hat, something like that. I was like, you cannot see anything on this grass. It is so frustrating. Whereas here on the cover, this is the antique, I know, but you can clearly see his hat and his shoes and his jacket and things. And I was so frustrated. And I think I should have picked my own color for the grass, but it got to the point where I had already put in over 1,000 stitches of grass, and I was like, screw it, I'm not taking it out. And I thought about it. I thought, he is the only problematic figure on the field of grass. Everything else is a much lighter color and will pop off of the dark grass really well. So I decided to just keep going, and I changed a couple colors on the man, and I made the woman, I gave her a straw bonnet or golden hair, whatever you want to say, because it was supposed to be like a gray-green color or something, and it just wasn't popping, and she looked like she had this ridiculously small head. But satin stitches in the tree, I think looks really nice. I'm trying to get this to focus on this rather than me. I don't know if it's working. And then yesterday alone, I got the squirrel and these 3 animals done. So a squirrel, an owl, a sheep, and a cow. Yeah. And then I put in some more grass this morning. But I really love this. And I think the cream here, I was a little concerned about it on this fabric, but actually it looks very nice. It pops. And the satin stitches are so shiny. And I was looking at it, and let's see, 1, 2. This flower is the middle. So I am already almost 1/3 of the way through the grass. Pretty good. So my idea is to continue working on Eliza for the rest of the month. Last year, my birthday start was Harriet Hay, and I did get her done before the end of the year. Now, Harriet only had a small field of grass. She did have a really big house, but she only had a small field of grass and some other little whimsical motifs around, and she didn't have a very heavy border. Eliza has a stitch heavy border and a lot of grass. So, and I neglected her for too many days this month and last month, so I don't know that I'm really gonna get even a chance to finish her by the end of the year, but we'll see. You never know. but super pretty. So if you're stitching this, let me know. Because when I went onto Instagram and searched her, I could only find a couple people that had worked on her, finished her. And one woman changed a lot of things. She changed tons of colors and put in different motifs and things. And so I didn't feel like I could get an idea of what my finished product was going to look like by looking at her piece. And my other new start was one that I actually already stitched before. This is the Rose and the Giant Pear by Hands Across the Sea Samplers. I stitched this about a year ago and then sent it off to Faye Rigsby to be finished into a small pillow, and it was gorgeous. But I gave it to a friend, and so I decided, you know, I really want that for myself. I really want the Rose and the Giant Pear displayed in my home. So I went ahead and started it. I worked on this for 2 or 3 days or something, got a bit of the border and all of that beautiful pear done. And as I'm stitching this, I'm thinking, do I want to finish it into a pillow like I had done before, or do I want it on the wall? Pillow or frame, or pillow or frame? And I just kept thinking I need to stitch it 2 more times is what needs to happen so that I can have both a pillow finish and a framed finish. But I really like this. And since I already stitched it once and stitched it true to the pattern with these initials, I'm thinking stitching it for myself, maybe I want to put in my own initials or my kids' initials or put in something else. I have no idea. But I really love this pattern. Really love it. This is on 56 count creme brulee by Tabby Cat. Beautiful little piece of linen. I think the right piece, the right sampler, this fabric is just awesome. I know several people don't like, you know, a lot of people don't like it because it's just too loud, it's too dark, it's too mottled, whatever, but I really like it. And because the pear is solid stitching and the rose is solid stitching, they pop off of this, because this is what I stitched my first one on, was this same fabric. Now the house is not solid stitching. It is every other. You can see it's a checkerboard thing. It's not completely filled in, which makes it go really quickly though. But the house is going to sit right in the middle where I have this lighter bit, and I think it will look just lovely. Yeah. So I love that. I think I could finish that in a week if I just sat down and worked on the darn thing. Okay, those are all my whips, my new starts. So now my finishes. My finishes, I showed you Santa's Delivery from Teresa Kogut. And let me show you, my Mill Hill finishes. So these two, all the beading had been done ages ago. This one I just needed to finish off and back it, which I did. But then this one was the third in that series. So I did the stitching and I did all the finishing. So now that I've shown you guys, I can go put them on my Christmas tree. I have a lot of Santas on the Christmas tree now. And other Mill Hill kits. I have the Mill Hill Angels. I have the Wise Men. I have the Holiday Harmony instruments. But these I just love. And I use an embossed, which unfortunately you cannot find anymore. If anybody has any of this paper, I want it. I will pay for you to ship it to me, because I cannot find this paper anymore. And you can find like glittery scrapbook paper, which is thick, and then you can find thick cardstock paper, and you can find Christmassy paper, but this embossed scrapbook paper I cannot find, and it works perfectly because it's lightweight, but it's stiff. So good. So got those all done. Next year, I should say for next year's Christmas tree display, I would like to have these ones done. These are the Christmas Day Santas. Look at the dog. And Santa's wearing bunny slippers. I think that's so cute. And then Santa has a kitty cat here with some presents. And then there is the dog and the cat trying to get the turkey. Yeah. So I would like to do these for next year. And these Mill Hill kits come with everything you need. They come with the chart, the perforated paper, floss, beads, and even needles. And these take me probably 5 to 6 days to do, if it's the only thing I'm working on. Okay, other finishes that I have. A Hocking, I finished this. This is from the Words of Wisdom box from Hands Across the Sea Samplers. It's at the Framers. Louise Piret, Hands Across the Sea Samplers. This was one that I started in January with the intention of doing 1 row and a bit of border every month. It's finished. It's at the Framers. Sarah J. Jones. This is super tiny, and I got this at the Hobby House retreat in October. I started it and finished it, and it's at the Framers. But I do have something I can show you. You guys are like, when is she going to show us something? She actually has. This is also from the Words of Wisdom box. Mary Elizabeth Gill, Honor Your Parents. I stitched this. I have not sent it to the Framers yet. I cannot decide if I'm going to send this with some other really teeny tiny samplers to Faye Rigsby to have finished so that I can have like a tiny sampler display, or if I want to have this framed because it's small enough you can have it finished into a pillow, but it's so beautiful and colorful and bold, and I think I really want it on my wall. There's quite a price jump from pillow to frame, so that's one thing to consider, but I really love this. This is stitched on 56 count white mustard from XQ Design. As I was stitching this, I think maybe when I was getting close to the finish or had finished it, I showed it to Ryan, and I was talking about, oh, I love how colorful it is, and he was like, are all those color changes fun or is it annoying? And I was like, it's annoying. But the finished product is amazing, and I don't think the yellow is coming through quite right. Yeah, the fabric is, I think that's a good representation of the color of the fabric. Now let me tell you a couple things that I changed, just very small changes that I made. Little drops of water, little grains of sand, make the mighty ocean and thy beauteous land. Now her grains actually says gains. There is no R there. So what I did was I stitched the letters as charted, and then I shoved in an R. And I did that in that way because some of her letters are kind of like this. It's kind of informal. So I thought, if Mary Elizabeth Gill had noticed that she forgot the R, I think she would have just gone back and shoved that R in. So that's what I did. I picked a color, the yellow, because it hadn't been used at all in this word yet, and I shoved that in there so it actually says grains. And then down here there was supposed to be a tiny little, whatever you want to call this. What is this? I don't know. It looks like a bee disc is what it looks like, but I don't think that would be it. So that's where I decided to put my signature. You guys see it? It's an A and a 2-4 for Audrey 2024. And I used Swastirfine 2119. Oh, look at this color. Laura's retching right now. I'm sure she hates this, but I love this color. So 199 is what's called for in this chart. And then from stitching the rose and the giant pear, oh, by the way, I'm stitching this in Swastirfine, and I knew that for this I had Swastirfine 2199, and so I was like, oh, I gotta put my signature in that same color, because I try, when I put my signature in to a finished piece, I try to use a color either that blends into the fabric or is one that is already used within the chart. And because this was so colorful already, I thought, oh, well, I can use one of these colors. And I thought, when am I ever going to get to use that acid green again? Probably never. So yeah, I stitched my signature over one. Yeah, it just won't focus. It wants to focus on my face, which is fine. We'll deal. So that is a finish I can show you. Yay. And when I get things back from the framer, which should be, I don't know, I will show them to you. I thought I sent Maria Ewan and Hannah Campbell and a couple others to Lisa at LM Framing in Batavia, Ohio. And then I had, 4 other things hanging around, one of which was Marie Louise Piret, and another one was Carmel Ottopardi, which I had held off on sending to her because I wanted to take it with me to Hobby House to show as my show and share thing. And so they're sitting around here, and I thought, well, they can sit around here and I can send them to her later, or I can just send them to her now and they can sit around there, and then she can pull them as she has time to, pick frames and things. So I thought better for her to have them, and, she'll get to them when she gets to them. I've never had to wait more than like 6 or 8 weeks to get frame options from her. And then I'm pretty quick at making decisions. So I just say, yep, this is my choice for this is my choice for this, and then she gets on it. And I think her, it's not like I've shopped around a lot, but I have had things framed at Michael's, and I would so rather pay a small business, an independent framer, basically the same price, and get a better job, get an archival quality frame. I'm very happy with how she's finished my pieces for me. Okay, let me check my notes again. Okay, so I have just a couple of things, nothing else really to show you. So if you want to head on to another video, that's okay. But I wanted to let you guys know who I've been watching. Cross Stitch the Globe, I mentioned them already, Stephanie and Allison. And yeah, I think you should go and watch their 2025 plans video, because Allison is super conservative and she's like, I'm thinking like 4 things. And Stephanie is like going on and on and on. And one of the things that she wants to start and finish in 6 months is a Hawk Run Hollow. I'm like all for it. Like, yeah, you can do it, but are we really going to do that? We all have these grand plans. But having finished a couple large pieces this year, I like all these little things that I've done, and they'll look really great on the wall, but to have a big finish, this one is big. This one is, the stitching area is 12 by 12. So to have some big finishes this year, that's a great feeling, and it's going to be even better when I see them on my wall. So good luck, Stephanie. Keep us posted. I'm sure she will. They put out a lot of videos. So if you just like content and you just want Flosstube on, they have a lot for you. And I watched Katie Strachan's latest video. Well, I watch all of her videos, but her latest one was all about her Christmas stuff. So if you're in the Christmassy mood and you want to see handmade ornaments, go watch Katie Strachan. Contented Needleworker Kim put her latest video out probably a couple weeks ago now at this point, but she had a lot of finishes. So go check her out. Sean Periwinkle Stitcher, she put a video out not too long ago, and I've already watched it twice and probably will watch it again. And Erica from Fibers and Floss Canada, she's doing videos every other day now in December, sort of part of a 12 Days of Christmas Advent sort of thing, and she's got, new things to show you every day and some prompts and things, and just talking about Christmas traditions and things like that. So that's been fun. And then I already mentioned Jackie Comfort Stitching. She put out a video just a few days ago, actually, so you can go check her out. And then Stitch and Gem, she had a video just yesterday. I was sort of in and out of it, so I need to rewatch that one. But she had plenty to show. But my favorite thing in December probably has to be Caroline of Evertote, her daily videos. And so like this morning when it was only 6 minutes, I'm like, ah. I was like, but she has a business and children and a husband and a dog and a life, and she doesn't need to make long videos every day. But I really enjoy her videos, and I enjoy her videos with Carrie as well. And so you need to check out Evertote Notes from the Workshop is the videos that they do together, and then Off the Grid Needleworks is Caroline specific, or more of her personal stitching. So I've been enjoying that. Since maybe 2 of you are curious, I did finish North and South. It was a little anticlimactic at the end, but it's fine. I'm glad I read it. I won't read it again, but I'm glad I read it. And then yesterday I started watching the BBC miniseries, and I think it's followed the book pretty well. There are, you know, a couple obvious changes that they made, and I think most of the cast I've never seen before, so that was kind of a surprise. And then I started reading Don Quixote, and I'm about halfway through. I think I can finish that by the end of the year, and I've been enjoying that. A couple other notes is that the Stitch Folk subscription box sign-ups are on December 15th. Go to Stitch Folk's Instagram page, and there's more information about that in one of her latest posts. You gotta go to her website and, I don't know, sign up, pay the deposit, whatever it is. But it's gonna be 4 quarterly boxes next year. But instead of having to pay for it all up front like you would have had to do for this year, I think you're just going to be billed as they ship. That's my understanding. But you can check out the information that she has on her Instagram page. And then on Saturday, I am going to Stitchy Day at Always in Stitches, and I think I'm going to take one of my Birds of a Feather stockings so I can get that kitted up. I can get the floss for that. But the most exciting thing, oh my goodness, I got into Swindon. Oh, I'm so excited. So last week I, got up in the morning and I was doing whatever, and then eventually I checked my email and I saw an email from Nicola Parkman. I was so excited. So I got into Swindon. I was so excited that I didn't read the email properly. I just went through the PayPal invoice and paid it, and then went back to the email and saw that there's registration, sheets that you need to fill out. So I went ahead and did all that because I paid the invoice, and there was thank you so much, I paid the invoice, and sent that email. And then I went back and was oh, Audrey, you're supposed to fill out this information sheet. So I did that and then sent that as well. Oh my goodness, but I'm so excited. So the first thing I did after I excitedly sent too many emails back to Nicola was I texted Brenda and Laura and Barry because I know that they're going. So I texted them and said, I got into Swindon. And I am super excited. I, told Ryan he was in Las Vegas hating life, and he had a work thing. And so he called, I texted him, all caps, I got into Swindon, and he didn't call me back for 2 hours or something. Anyway, he was very excited for me. And I said, yeah, I was so excited, I just went ahead and paid the invoice. I didn't check in with you. But we had already agreed that I could go, so it wasn't really a big deal. But, so I put my deposit down. I'll have to pay the balance whenever that's due. And now I got to figure out my travel arrangements, hotel, all that. But it's so nice knowing 10 months ahead of time, because I was kind of worried that I was gonna, get an opening. There was gonna be an opening for me, but it wasn't gonna be until August or something of next year, just a couple months before the event. And I was how am I gonna deal with that? But it's nice to know ahead of time. So I know there are a few people who, even from the States, but also from the UK, who watch my videos and were maybe hoping that I would go. I'm gonna go! I'm so excited. So here, I'm trying not to yell because I don't want, the volume to go crazy on your TV or in your headphones or anything. But that's all I have for you today. tentative plans, continue to work on Eliza Townsend. I'll give you updates on Instagram. I would like to finish that Stacy Nash animal cracker pretty soon, but we'll see if something gets in the way. And then I really am dying to start something new, like I need to. So I'll probably start something new. It might even be Ann Thomas, because now I have the perfect fabric. I'm so excited. Oh, this video is going to be really long, you guys. Okay, thank you so much for bearing with me. I'm super out of practice, so I need to not do this every 2 months. I need to do this every 3 or 4 weeks again and show you what I've got going on. Okay, leave comments, questions below. You can also send me a private message on Instagram if you prefer to do it that way. I am at StitchStitchBead. And I will chat with you guys maybe even again later this month, but if not, it'll be early January. So until then, thanks for watching and happy stitching.